Throwaway account. I, 40-year-old female, am significantly older than my sister, who is 25-year-old female. As such, after she was born, I was repeatedly overlooked and forced to take on parental responsibilities by my parents in favor of her. Examples of this include giving my old clothes and toys to her without my permission, rather than keeping them as a memento of my childhood. In short, my inner child has had to undergo a lot of healing over the years. I have limited contact with my parents and sister, but apparently she is engaged and wants me to be a part of the wedding party. Now, I am not comfortable around children of any age. It is a result of my traumatic experiences. Being around them brings about a sense of responsibility that reminds me of the neglect I endured at the hands of my family. My sister is aware of this, so I assumed that since she asked me to be in the wedding, it would be a child-free event. During a discussion, she mentioned that her fiancé's best friend's daughter would be serving as the flower girl, and our cousin's son would be the ring bearer. I reminded her that I would not feel comfortable around children, and expressed my disappointment that she would invite me to be in a wedding that is not child-free. She appeared sad for a moment, and informed me that there were many young children and families who are close to her and her fiancé, and the day would feel incomplete without them. She stated that if I really was unable to be around children to that extent, she would understand if I couldn't attend. I was shocked that she would uninvite me in favor of random kids, and it reminded me of being cast aside in favor of her when we were young. Therefore, I left the situation to collect myself. I attempted to ask my parents to talk some sense into her, but unsurprisingly, they took her side. At this point, I was deeply hurt and needed an outlet, so I did something that might make me the bad person. I am friends with some other family members on Facebook, and I made a post about how my sister was excluding me from the wedding, and that my parents were siding with her, all because of the trauma that they contributed to themselves. I didn't provide any details because I didn't think it was anyone else's business. I just wanted to vent. Now, people are apparently refusing to attend my sister's wedding unless I am reinstated as part of the wedding party. Both my parents and sister are begging me to come, but they are still unwilling to change their stance on having children present. So, it doesn't really make much of a difference to me. I do feel bad because I didn't anticipate that our family would refuse to attend. But I cannot go to an event with so many children around, or retract my statement, because I don't want the family to think I lied. Am I the bad person for refusing to go? Edit. For those of you suggesting therapy, I am already in therapy. My therapist is incredible and has helped me realize the profound impact my past has had on me. I have yet to discuss the Facebook post with them, but we'll see what they have to say. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I have a hard time believing this is real because your stance is so unreasonable and narcissistic that it sounds like clickbait. But in the event that this is genuine and you still don't know, then yes, you're the idiot. Your sister doesn't want a child-free wedding, and it's her wedding and her choice. You don't like it? You don't have to go. You are free to make that decision. You don't get to dictate the invite list of someone else's wedding and then try to sabotage it out of spite. You can't be that dense that you are on here trying to justify your behavior and ask with sincerity if you're a jerk or not. If your childhood trauma is so bad that even being in the same vicinity of a child triggers you like this, then that is unfortunate, but it is your issue to deal with and yours alone. The world isn't going to bend to you like this. What do you do when you go to a supermarket or a restaurant or anywhere where a child might be present? How do you live like this? Also, it's very common for younger siblings to inherit hand-me-down clothes and toys from older siblings who no longer need or use them. I certainly did. Are your parents supposed to keep them in a shrine in memorandum of your eternal brilliance? Get over yourself. Comment 2. There's certainly nothing wrong with you not attending a wedding where you will feel uncomfortable. Heck, there's nothing wrong with you not attending a wedding for no reason at all other than you don't feel like going. But that's not what you're doing here. You publicly lied about being kicked out. You simply weren't able to dictate that others get uninvited because they might make you uncomfortable. It's not your wedding. You could just not go. You didn't have to make false claims. You're the idiot. Oh, and do seek therapy. I don't doubt that you have traumas from how you were treated in the past. But a parent giving a younger sibling clothes or toys that an older sibling outgrew is not an example of being overlooked or parentified. You would likely benefit from discussing with an unbiased third party. Now for the update. Hey everyone, throwaway account here. A lot has happened since my last post, and I wanted to give you all an update on the situation with my sister's wedding. So, after I made that Facebook post, things really blew up. My sister was getting calls left and right from family members who were upset about what I said. They couldn't believe she would exclude me over something like this. My parents were caught in the middle, trying to calm everyone down, but it wasn't working. Everyone was taking sides, and it was a mess. Now, let me give you some backstory. My sister and I have always had a rocky relationship. When she was born, I was already a teenager, and I felt like my parents just handed over all my stuff to her without asking. They always made me feel like I had to be the responsible one, and she got away with everything. It's like I was the trial run, and she was the golden child. This wedding drama felt like history repeating itself. Anyway, back to the update. My sister finally called me, and we had a long talk. She apologized for making me feel left out and explained that she really wanted me there. She said she didn't realize how deep my issues with children were. I told her about the years of being forced into a parental role and how it affected me. She seemed to understand, but she still wouldn't budge on the no kids rule. Then, out of nowhere, my sister's fiancé called me. We'd never been close, but he said he wanted to clear the air. He told me he had no idea about my past and that he was sorry for any pain this was causing. He even offered to talk to my sister about maybe having a compromise, like a separate area for the kids during the ceremony, so I wouldn't have to be around them. I was starting to feel hopeful that we could work something out. But then, the next day, I got a call from my aunt. She was furious with me. She said she heard from my cousin that I was trying to ruin the wedding by making it all about me. I was shocked. That wasn't what I was trying to do at all. I tried to explain, but she wouldn't listen. Turns out, my cousin had overheard part of my conversation with my sister's fiancé and got the wrong idea. He thought I was demanding they get rid of the kids altogether, which wasn't true. I just wanted to not be around them so much. This misunderstanding spread through the family like wildfire. Now, my sister was getting even more pressure from the family to fix things with me. She was stressed out and didn't know what to do. I felt terrible. I never wanted to cause her this much trouble. I just wanted to feel comfortable at her wedding. In the midst of all this, my parents were trying to play peacemakers. They called me and asked me to just come to the wedding and try to put on a brave face. They said they'd help me avoid the kids as much as possible. But I couldn't shake the feeling that once again, I was being asked to just deal with it for the sake of family peace. The day before the wedding, my sister came to my house. She was in tears. She said she couldn't stand the thought of getting married without me there. She admitted that she had taken me for granted and that she was sorry for all the times our parents had made me feel less important. It was a moment I never thought I'd see. We hugged it out, and I agreed to go to the wedding. But I made it clear that I would need some space from the kids. She promised to do her best to make sure I was comfortable. The wedding day arrived, and it was tense. I could feel the eyes of the family on me, watching to see if I would cause a scene. But I kept to myself, and with the help of my parents, I managed to avoid the kids for most of the event. Then, during the reception, my sister made a speech. She thanked everyone for coming, and then turned to me. She apologized in front of everyone for not considering my feelings and for the misunderstanding that had happened. The room was silent. It was a jaw-dropping moment. No one had expected her to address it so publicly. After that, the tension seemed to lift. People started to understand that it was all just a big misunderstanding. The rest of the night went smoothly, and I even managed to have a good time. But just when I thought everything was settled, my cousin came up to me. He said he was sorry for the mix-up and that he never meant to cause any trouble. He explained that he had only caught part of the conversation and had jumped to conclusions. B brings homemade meatballs to my house to get revenge, but when I ask where the meat came from, oh boy, she admits it's store-bought. My husband, 35 years old, Jake, and I, 30 years old, have a group of friends from his college. B, 35 years old, G, 35 years old, and Lou, 35 years old. B is jealous of Lou because Lou dated someone who rejected her. Lou, Jake, and I live far from B and G, 2 hours from a tourist city on what we call our homestead. We have a garden, chickens, a dairy cow, and we don't eat store-bought processed foods, except on special occasions. My family never eats meat or dairy unless we know where it came from. Since I am a stay-at-home mom, I make things from scratch, including butter, buttermilk, farmer's cheese, cream cheese, etc. Lou lives a similar lifestyle. We will trade eggs or canned goods from our garden for goat cheese or things she grows. Her neighbor raises beef cattle, so we have met the cows before. We split a cow with Lou's family this past year. B and G were visiting the city not too far, so decided to have dinner at my house. I made pasta with garlic bread, butter, chicken parmigiana. Our eating morals aren't something I talk about, so B and G weren't aware. Lou hadn't been by in a while, so when she got to our house, she brought a bag of her frozen meatballs that we had traded for. My kids were all raving about them, as they really are so good, and B gets a look, asking what is so special about them. I told her Lou must have some secret sauce, because I can never compete with them. Dinner goes well outside of that. B and G planned to stop for dinner on their way home. Lou and I were making dinner when they arrived. B was holding a tray of meatballs that looked to be homemade. She was smiling and walked in, asking everyone to try them. I don't force my kids to follow the know your cow thing, but my daughter asked her what cow the meatballs were from. B laughed and said it was just grocery store meat, and to try it, she would like it. My daughter said no thanks. B went around trying to get people to eat them, but my family and Lou's family all said no thank you. G was eating them, trying to save the situation, but she came into the kitchen looking like she was going to cry and started yelling at Lou and me, saying how we really turned our families against her and are refusing to try her food out of spite. I explained we don't eat meat or dairy unless we know the animal. She laughed and told me to stop lying. She brought up the meal at my house had cheese, butter, chicken, and milk, and there's no way I knew the cow that Lou's meatballs had come from. I explained that we did know that cow, our dairy cow, and chicken. I said we call ourselves vegan when we are out. She just said, right, how convenient that when it's Lou, it's fine, but not me. She grabbed G and they left. They haven't said anything to us besides one Facebook post B made about fake vegans who are only vegan when it suits them for attention. Which makes me think we should have just tried her meatballs. Edit. We use Know Your Cow with our children, but we mean Vet Your Sauce Rancher. This has confused a lot of people. We aren't hanging around with cows and using their full names. Edit 2. We were having prime rib and twice-baked potatoes for dinner with a smoked salmon dip as an appetizer. Eating meatballs right before prime rib is a bit weird in my opinion. B copies things Lou does literally every time we are all together. She didn't bring meatballs because she thought they'd go well with our prime rib. It was because of her internal competition with Lou. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I feel terrible for B. She had no reason to know your weird, know your cow rules if you never told her. She went to a lot of effort to make meatballs, and you all treated them as though they were radioactive. You say you do eat other food on special occasions. This was a special occasion. Congratulations on your so very high eating morals. You've patted yourself on the back for them enough. Your friendship morals, however, are lacking. You're the idiot. Comment 2. Soft. You're the idiot. Your secrecy and muddled communication about your lifestyle led to an embarrassing, borderline rude situation with a friend. I get trying to keep the dialogue simple when in public, but you should have communicated with your friends more clearly in advance. Put yourself in B's shoes for a second. How would you feel if you brought homemade food to a friend's and no one ate it, especially when the reason why was not expressed beforehand? Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. I've got an update for you. And let me tell you, things have escalated. So, after B stormed out with G, we thought that would be the end of it. But no, B had to take it a step further. Remember how I mentioned she made a Facebook post? Well, it turns out she didn't just stop there. She started messaging our mutual friends, spinning a story about how we were shaming her for not living up to our elitist standards. She even went as far as to say we were looking down on her because she couldn't afford to live like us. That couldn't be further from the truth. Now, let's rewind a bit to give you some context. B has always been competitive, especially with Lou. It's like she's got something to prove. Back in college, she tried out for the same sports team as Lou and didn't make it, while Lou became the team captain. Since then, it's like B's made it her mission to one-up Lou whenever she can. It's not just about the guy who rejected her for Lou, it's about everything. Fast forward to 2 days ago. Lou calls me and she's fuming. B had gone to her house under the guise of wanting to clear the air. But instead of apologizing, B accused Lou of poisoning our friends against her. She even had the audacity to say that Lou's lifestyle was just a show-off and that she was brainwashing us into following her lead. Lou was hurt because she genuinely cares about sustainable living, and it's not a competition to her. Yesterday, things got even more heated. Jake and I were at the local farmers' market when we bumped into G. She looked uncomfortable and finally blurted out that B had been pressuring her to take sides. G admitted she felt caught in the middle, but didn't agree with B's actions. She also let slip that B had been planning this dinner confrontation for weeks, hoping to expose us as hypocrites in front of everyone. Now, let's not forget about the kids in all of this. My daughter, who's always been quite perceptive, overheard B's rant at our house and asked me why B was so angry. I had to explain to her that sometimes people let their insecurities get the best of them. It was a tough conversation, but I'm proud of how mature she's been through all this drama. Today, the situation reached a boiling point. B sent a group text to all of us, including a long rant about how we were all fake friends and that she was the only one being true to herself. She even accused Lou of stealing her life, which is just ridiculous. Lou responded, trying to be the bigger person, offering to talk things out one-on-one without involving everyone else. But B just left the group chat without responding. It's been a ride of emotions, and I'm not sure where we go from here. Jake and I have been talking, and we're considering distancing ourselves from B for a while. It's clear she's dealing with some deep-seated issues, and until she's ready to address them, it's not healthy for any of us to be around her negativity. As for Guy, she's been apologetic and seems to be stuck in a tough spot as B's friend. We've reassured her that we don't hold any grudges and that we understand her position. It's just a shame that B's actions are causing rifts in what used to be a tight-knit group of friends. Parents get my sister her own dog, and I end up taking care of it as well. But when they give me empty dog kennel for Christmas, I confront them. I, 14-year-old female, am a huge animal lover, probably to an annoying extent, I admit. All I do is read about animals and different dog breeds, and I want to be a vet. My family has a few family pets, 2 cats and a dog, and I am 98% responsible for all of their care, except the things I can't do because of my age, like driving them to the vet and paying for food or vet bills. I feed them, administer medication, take care of grooming, track when they need regular vet checks, and so on. I love doing this and do not consider it a chore. Family means that they belong to everyone in the family equally, and I'm not allowed to decide anything about training, etc. So, as you might guess, the dog is kind of spoiled. It jumps on people, is horrible to walk on a leash, and doesn't come when called, etc. It has 6 different people with 6 different rules and no consistency. However, he is well taken care of, so I try not to be upset about it. So up until last year, I was always told that I could not have my own pet, because then my parents would have to get all the kids, 4 in total, their own pet. But then my parents decided to get my younger sister, 12-year-old female, her own dog for her birthday. We all went to the animal shelter with her to pick out a puppy. She likes animals, but not the way I do. and I still end up doing all of the care for her dog too. I don't mind. However, I am also not allowed to train it because it's hers. I asked my parents if this meant I could also have my own dog, and they said no, 2 dogs were enough. I asked why my sister could have her own dog, and they just said she likes animals, and they thought it would be a good present. She doesn't have a major illness or condition or anything. She is a normal kid. Fast forward to this Christmas. My parents like to do presents by setting things out by the Christmas tree the night before Christmas while the kids are sleeping. So I woke up early Christmas morning to go see, and under my stocking was a big empty dog kennel, like one of the folding wire ones. So you can imagine where my mind went with this. I was so excited, I could hardly wait for everyone to get up, because I figured I was going to be told I would get to do my own trip to the animal shelter as soon as they were open after the holidays. Well, nope. It turns out I'm still not allowed to have a pet, and the reason I got the dog kennel was so I could use it for the other 2 dogs. At this point, I started crying, and when they asked me what was wrong, I said I would have rather not gotten any presents at all. Then there was a fight between me and my parents, and I spent the rest of Christmas in my room. So it's been over a month since then, and I'm still kind of upset about it every time I look at the kennel. It is folded up in my room right now. However, I also sort of feel like maybe I was a brat for not being happy for the present, happy that my family is well off enough to have presents and pets and stuff, etc., etc. So, am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are absolutely not a brat. That's a totally terrible gift. Like giving the maid a new vacuum cleaner for Christmas. I suggest either A. Selling it and using the money to buy your own gift, or B. Having a little fun with it. Do you have a stuffed dog or other animal? We'll call it Fluffy. Fill your social media with posts of what a fabulous gift your parents got you for Fluffy, so you can finally feel like you got your own pet too. Think insanely cheerful and enthusiastic cheerleader. Set up different daily photo shoots of Fluffy in the kennel, with a pool, having friends, other stuffed animals over, doing a jailbreak, being a fashion model, hosting a mock UN, whatever. Be sure to thank Mom and Dad so much for being so thoughtful. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your sister gets a dog that you end up looking after but aren't allowed to train, after telling you for years that you can't have a pet of your own, and then they get you an empty dog kennel as a gift so you can use it for the family dog and your sister's dog. You are not wrong at all for being upset. Your parents are hypocrites and liars, and at the very least super insensitive, but I think downright cruel for their choice of Christmas gift. I'm so sorry that you have massive holes for parents. Now, for the update. Hey Reddit, it's me again, the girl who got a dog kennel for Christmas but no dog. It's been 3 days since my last post, and boy, do I have an update for you all. Remember how I mentioned that my sister got her own dog last year? Well, turns out she's been getting bored with the responsibilities that come with it. I've been picking up the slack as usual, feeding, walking, and training her dog along with our other family pets. I didn't mind at first because, I love animals. But things took a turn for the worse. 3 days ago, I overheard my parents talking about how my sister wasn't taking care of her dog properly. They were considering rehoming it because they didn't want the responsibility. I was shocked. I couldn't believe they would just give away a pet like that, especially when I was right here, willing to do all the work. I confronted them about it, and they said it was for the best, since my sister had lost interest. I argued that I could take over full responsibility for the dog, but they shut me down, saying 2 dogs were enough for the family to handle. Now, here's where the injustice really hits. My sister, overhearing our conversation, decided she didn't want to give up her dog after all. But instead of stepping up her game, she demanded that I do even more for her pet. She wanted me to train it to do tricks and be more obedient, but she still insisted it was her dog and that she would be the one to show it off to her friends. I was fuming. I've been taking care of these animals for years, and now I was being taken advantage of. I told my sister that if it was her dog, she needed to take care of it herself. She threw a tantrum, and my parents sided with her, saying I was being selfish and unreasonable. The next day, I decided to take a stand. I stopped doing all the extra work for my sister's dog. I still took care of the family pets because I couldn't bear to see them neglected, but I refused to do anything extra for her dog. My sister was furious. She had to cancel plans with her friends because she had to stay home and take care of her dog. But it didn't end there. Yesterday, my sister tried to take her dog for a walk by herself, and it was a disaster. The dog, not used to her handling the leash, pulled her down the street, and she ended up with scraped knees and a bruised ego. My parents blamed me for not helping her, saying it was my fault she got hurt. I tried to explain that I was only doing what they told me, that it was her dog and her responsibility, but they wouldn't listen. They accused me of being spiteful and causing trouble in the family. And then, the most jaw-dropping moment happened. My sister, in a fit of anger, let slip that she only wanted the dog because she was jealous of the attention I got for taking care of the family pets. She admitted she never really wanted the responsibility, just the praise. My parents were stunned. They had no idea she felt that way. There was a long, tense silence before they finally apologized to me. They admitted they had been unfair and promised to rethink how we handle pet responsibilities in our family. But the damage was done. I felt betrayed and hurt. I had poured my heart and soul into taking care of these animals, and it felt like it was all for nothing. I retreated to my room, where the folded-up kennel still sat, a reminder of the pet I longed for but couldn't have. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.